If you are speaking for us today to tell Big Data to get the fuck out of Michigan, please make your way up here to the front. We would super duper appreciate you. Come to the black canopy if you are speaking today. Cannot wait to hear from you. Thank you.
Working folks down here, they got a great benefit plan. Join us, boy, it's nice. Join us, take my advice. If you're lacking control and authority, come with me and hunt down minorities. Join us. Well, I felt the academy, the cops weren't having me, the army didn't send that fun, so I found me a paramilitary operation that was keen to hand me a gun. I got picked on in school, I never felt that cool. There's a hole in my soul that just rages. All the ladies turned me down and I felt like a clown. But will you look at me now, I'm putting folks in cages. That ice for respect and power. Join ice, I hear they got great hours. There's a sign-on bonus of 50 grand. They're in need of you needing to feel like a man. Join ice. Look at them go. If you're seeking respect and attention, if you're in need of a gig that'll make you feel big, come with me and put some folks in detention. See, I failed the academy, the cops weren't having me, the army didn't sound that fun, so I found me a paramilitary operation that was keen to hand me a gun. Join ICE, boy, ain't it nice? Join ICE, take my advice. If you're lacking control and authority, come with me and hunt down minorities. Join ICE.
There ain't no kings in the USA. You're not God, motherfucker. No matter what you say, you break your word, you steal and lie. You can't break us, no matter how you try. This land is ours, and podemos sentarnos, pero las ideas solo pueden levantarnos, caminar, recorrer, no rendirse ni retroceder, ver, aprender como esponja, absorber, nadie sobre todos, faltan todos, suman todos, para todos, todo, para nosotros somos, soñamos en grande que se caiga el imperio, lo gritamos algo, no queda más remedio, esto no es utopía, es salir de rebeldía, del baile de los que sobran, de la danza de mi amiga, levantarnos para decir llevar, ni África ni América Latina se suba, un casco con lápiz a patear el viaje, provocar un social terremoto en escuchar. Catrileo al mapo, 1000 veces venceremos del cielo al suelo.
Nope, you're good. Hey everyone. Yep, it's a consistent problem. Hey everyone, do we want to gather up?
Everyone gather around, we're starting!
Thank you. I will eat the microphone. Yeah. Good evening, Detroit. How are we? Are you pissed we have to be here again? Yeah, I think we all are. I mean, I am. So, my name is Sabrina King Doherty, and I'm gonna kick this mic. I'm so sorry. I'm the co-founder of the Public Research Initiative, a grassroots, volunteer-based, nonpartisan research organization with the base belief that power comes from knowledge. Pretty simple. Some of my fantastic team is right over there, including my co-founder, Rachel. Our mission can be boiled down to a very, very simple idea. We want to empower the general public to enact real change in their communities through knowledge. That's what we're here for today. This rally is focused on you, the community. Today, we're coming together as a community to support each other, to learn about this data center infestation, to learn about how it affects everyone differently, to be angry, to be hopeful, and to be engaged in the issue. I know people have come a long way to get here tonight, so let me get to the nitty-gritty. Michigan really got screwed in this whole ordeal. No, not in a good way. We have over 20 AI data center proposals in Michigan and counting. They're like whack-a-mole. Every time you look, there's another one. And one party is always going to point at the other party like it's a simple one-way problem. But truthfully, this was a bipartisan effort by complicit politicians and big tech oligarchs against the people, from DC to Lansing. Bipartisan utility money contributions, bipartisan votes against the people, and bipartisan assurances that we stay uninformed, misinformed, and unaware of what to even ask. The movement against this has been even less concerned with party lines. In a time where citizens of this country can rarely find common ground, neighbors have been joining together across the state to call out the invasion of their state by these proposals and the corruption of their government by corporate interests. Nobody wants these things. Literally nobody. Nobody wants their land destroyed. Nobody wants their land poisoned. Nobody wants their health affected by noise and noxious fumes. Nobody wants tech companies with government contracts coming into their state, supporting government surveillance and ICE operations, making their neighborhoods a general national security threat. Nobody wants their home to become a prison instead of a sanctuary. Today, we're going to show these complicit officials and these tech companies and these utility companies that their exhaustion cycle doesn't work on us. They can flood the zone with as much misinformation as they want, run us around in circles, don't give us the answers we need. We won't give up. We will just get louder. Because there will always be people, like the ones here at this rally, who are willing to speak up and educate the public on what's really, actually happening. Detroit, are you tired yet? Yeah. Are you going to give up? No. Yeah, we aren't either. Before I welcome our first speaker, let me just point out there are a few people circulating petitions in the crowd. If you hate corporate money in our Michigan politics, go find a petition, sign it. It's from Michiganders for Money Out of Politics. We'll also be holding a Q&A style talk with speakers when we educate, We'll also be holding a Q&A style with speakers when we conclude speeches. So if anyone out in the audience has a question you'd like answered by one of these amazing speakers over here, please stop by the PRI table, drop off a question. They can instruct you how. Otherwise, I encourage you to speak to others in the attendance, stop by some tables, get loud today. First up, we have Eric Shelley, who's been an organizer with Michigan United for 15 years and is here to talk about getting money out of our Michigan politics.
How's everyone doing today? All right, let's do something like right off the bat. Let's get this sorted out. This guy over here, he seems to understand what's going on. He's behind me with the cameras over here. If you got a sign and you want to be on camera, stand next to this guy. Data center moratorium now. Get over here. Water for the people over here now. Yeah, let's show that we have some support for what we're doing. I'm not up here alone on camera. I want all you people to show it. Yeah, there you go. Show your support for what we're out here to do today. My name's Eric. I'm with Michigan United Action. Hey! 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 That's right. That's right. And we're here to stop data centers, and a bunch of folks are going to tell you about how awful data centers are, what they do to the environment, what they do to our economy, what they do to our jobs. And I'm here to talk about what they're going to do to our democracy, which, you know, is kind of like an abstract idea. Democracy is why we're out here today, because we believe that our voices can actually change something. And DTE is one of the biggest donors in Lansing. And they give to both sides of the political aisle because they're betting on all the horses. They know that they're going to win no matter who comes in first. And as you can imagine, there's an AI bubble. There's huge money behind this because everyone wants to be the first one across the finish line, to be the biggest AI. They want to be the next Facebook. They want to be the next Google. And they're going to bribe all of our politicians. And we can't let that happen. That's right. Because every time that they do this, they're using your money to silence your voice. DTE is raising the rates and then giving to the politicians so they can make even more money next year. Everybody, right now, DTE can't silence me. DTE can't silence me. DTE can't silence me. DTE can't silence me. That's right. Now, if we're going to win this thing, we need to get DTE's money out of politics. We need to cut off that stream right now. And here's how we do it. We have a ballot initiative. We want to put it on the ballot for 2026. A company with a state contract like DTE can't donate to state politicians. We're going to decide how much money they make. We're making bribery illegal again. Yeah? All right. We've got a ballot initiative. We've got petitions over here, and if you sign it, thank you. God bless you. But one signature is not going to do it. We need you to take up the petition and circulate it. We need you to go out and get 10 more signatures, 100 more signatures, because that's what's going to put this initiative on the ballot, and that's what's going to get money out of politics. Who's with me? All right, thank you very much. I'm Eric Shelley, Michigan United.
What a speaker, huh? Next up, we have Kurt from Berlin Township. He is a community leader in his area. Please welcome. Oh, so sorry. Next up, we have Kurt from Berlin Township. He is a community leader in his area. Please welcome him up to the mic.
Bonjour and Inouye Maganut, Kurt Weston and Dijnagaz, Gawin Nindagusin, Bakakwan and Dudam, Shaun of a Sin Mitigan Michigan, Nunjaba, Minawa, Shaun of a Sin Mitigan Dinda. Hello, my relatives. Kurt Weston is my name. I don't have a spirit name, and Chicken Name is my clan. South Rockwood, Michigan is where I'm from, and South Rockwood, Michigan is where I live. And I come before you all today as a community leader and a representative of Berlin Township, as well as an indigenous ally to all Anishinaabe, and a voice for our wildlife, the land, and the water. I speak for the trees, as the Lorax might say, and it's for that reason I come here with a great concern. And as we speak, there are no less than 15 townships or municipalities that are being targeted for data center development, with the adjacent township to mine of Frenchtown potentially facing 2. And I know I can speak for what feels like countless at this point by saying this feels more like an invasion upon our beautiful and beloved state by big tech and corporations for our resources in order to profit. And furthermore, it's no longer a genuine concern for most of us, but a fear that the boards are no longer serving the best interests of their communities, but of the very corporations that are coming here to buy us out. and the fact that both the Berlin and Frenchtown boards are even considering putting a data center next to not only Sterling State Park, but next to Niedermeyer Elementary School was all the evidence that I needed to see of their complete disregard for our children, our wildlife, and their futures. And with all that being said, I'm also proposing here for all of our state to begin branching into the new industry of ecotourism as an alternative to these data center proposals or any other additional industrialization of our land, air, and water, where we begin to shift our educational focus to include regenerative sciences, giving students the rare opportunity to observe the effects of regeneration in real time and build a connection to the land, which is something I believe is missing in our society today. Possibly even using some myco-regenerative techniques that the legendary mycologist Paul Stamets goes into great length discussing. And maybe even becoming not only an example to the rest of the country, but the rest of the world on how to be true stewards of the land, as well as what is possible when communities come together to build something special. And so I'm making a pledge here today that I'll donate all. I ask all of the same.
Consumes 10 to 20 times more energy per server rack than previous data centers. An AI data center consumes up to 50 times more water than previous data centers. A single AI data center consumes 5 million gallons of water every single day, and that's coming at the same time that the UN just this year announced our planet is no longer necessarily water. It has entered a state of global water bankruptcy. Despite all of this, the tech CEOs and all of their mouthpieces love to keep telling us about how AI is supposed to benefit us. Mark Zuckerberg said AI is gonna accelerate humanity's progress. Larry Ellison, CEO of Oracle, said that AI is the fastest growing business in human history. Jeff Bezos, he said, there has never been a better time to be excited about the future. Now the question is, the future for who? Damn right. Because in the last 10 years, Bezos increased his net worth from $35 billion to more than $200 billion. Zuckerberg increased his net worth from $33 billion to more than $250 billion. Larry Ellison increased his net worth from $54 billion to more than $400 billion. And meanwhile, the federal minimum wage in this country has not changed since 2009 from $7.25 an hour. So it is possible that there is a universe out there where artificial intelligence can actually help uplift all of us, but unfortunately it is not this universe that we actually live in, because in this universe that we actually live in, the top 3 billionaires in America own more wealth than the bottom half of the country combined. Unfortunately, in this country, in this universe that we actually live in, the decisions being made in Silicon Valley, the decisions being made in Wall Street, in Washington, are made according to an ideology called profit. The decisions are being made according to an ideology called profit over people, an ideology called capital over community, an ideology called machines over humanity. And so we're out here calling for a moratorium, because a moratorium on data centers is a moratorium on extraction. It's a moratorium on pollution. It's a moratorium on planetary destruction. We are not against technology. We are against the economic and social arrangement that determines how the technology is used. Say no to AI data centers. Say no to big tech colonizers. Say no to paid for policymakers. Say yes to mop up Michigan, get money out of politics. Say yes to stopping this greedy, short-sighted invasion of data centers. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Danny. So, before we go on, I just want to remind everyone, if you have not signed the Money Out of Politics petition, look around, find someone with a clipboard. I see a few people out there collecting. Walk up to them. Don't wait for them to approach you, okay? Walk up to them and say, I would like to sign for the Money Out of Politics petition, Michigan Money Out of Politics. All right, so next up, we have State Representative Natalie Price speaking. Come on up.
Thank you. I'm Natalie Price. I'm currently a state representative. I'm also running for state senate. I've spent the last 3 years serving on the House Budget Committee, fighting line by line for the investments that make life better for working families in our state. Fighting for school funding that reaches kids who need it. Fighting for healthcare dollars that don't get swallowed up by executive salaries. Fighting for a tax structure that asks more of those who have more. Because I believe that a graduated income tax isn't a radical idea, it's a basic matter of fairness. And I know what it costs to fund these priorities. I know what it takes to move money in that building, in our capital. And I know what it looks like when dollars that should be going to our communities are being redirected somewhere else. Right now, Michigan is being asked to hand hundreds of millions of dollars in subsidies and tax exemptions to some of the wealthiest corporations in the world. We're talking about these companies whose annual profits exceed the GDP of entire nations, and they want you, Michigan taxpayers, to foot the bill for their infrastructure. I want you to think about what that money could do instead. We have school districts in the state where kids are learning in buildings with mold on the walls and textbooks that are 15 years out of date. We have an entire generation that cannot afford to buy a home, or in many cases cannot afford rent in the communities where they grew up. We pay some of the highest rates in the Midwest for utility services that go out when it rains. These are not abstractions. These are affecting the people I represent, and these are the choices that land on my desk every single day. So when a billion-dollar tech company comes to Lansing to ask for a 25-year tax exemption with no enforceable environmental protections in return, I don't see economic development. I see a choice, and I believe that we are making the wrong one. But right now, monopoly utilities and billion-dollar tech companies are counting on legislators to go along with their story. That unless we hand over these massive subsidies, tax exemptions, and a pass on environmental guardrails for these hyperscale data centers, they'll take their ball and go home. They won't. They need to be here. They need our fresh water, our climate, our grid, and they need to pay their fair share for all of it. At the very least, right? I've been in the room. I faced the pressure to support deals that weren't good enough, and I've stood firm. I voted against a 25-year tax exemption with no enforceable environmental protections. In Approps, I voted against $10 million of taxpayer money for a massive data center in Ypsilanti that those residents did not want. I joined my colleagues in demanding proper public comment when DTE tried to rush approval of a massive data center project in Saline. Affected communities deserve a voice before the decision gets made, not after. And to put the scale of these projects in concrete terms, that facility in Saline will demand power equivalent to more than 1 million homes, enough to increase DTE's system-wide demand by 25%. That's pressure on your electric bill, our water supply, and our commitment to hit 100% clean energy by 2040. And we all know Michigan has a long and painful history of concentrating industrial harm in lower income communities and communities of color. Every large-scale industrial siting decision, and that is what these are, whatever the tech industry calls them, has to ask from the start, who is being asked to bear the burden here, and have they had a real say in the process? That question has to be answered before approvals are granted, not after the fact. And when they are, promises are not protections. These are among the most profitable companies in the history of the world. They do not need Michigan taxpayers subsidizing their infrastructure in exchange for nothing enforceable. If these projects are coming here, they have to play by Michigan's rules and our values. We don't have the rules yet. We need the rules to live out the values. Renewable energy, ratepayer protection, closed-loop water systems, local jobs at prevailing wage, enforceable community benefit agreements, and environmental justice review before the first approval is granted. So I voted no on bad data center deals throughout my time in Lansing, and I'll do it again. Because a deal without enforceable protections is not economic development. It's extortion. It's exploitation. We deserve better. With my experience working on the state budget and on tax policy, in the committee rooms where those decisions are getting made, I know what our community needs and I know what it costs. And I know what it looks like when powerful interests are trying to get something for nothing. So thank you for being here today. We need your help, because the pressure that these companies bring to Lansing is real. And the only thing that matches that pressure is this: an organized community that refuses to be ignored. That's what you are. That's what this is. Let's keep fighting. Who am I handing it off to? Oh, right there.
All right. Thank you very much again, Natalie Price, for that speech, and thank you for being here. Next up, we have a speaker from Frenchtown who has been working as an attorney trying to fight the data center that's coming down there and trying to support us at the Public Research Initiative in a lot of ways as well. So David Alcinius, big round of applause, please. He's been very helpful. Thank you so much for being here, David.
Thank you. Good evening, Detroit. My name's David Alcinius. A few months ago, I became involved in a fight against data centers across the state of Michigan, and in particular in my hometown of Frenchtown Charter Township. One of the prevailing issues of the data center fight, aside from the environmental concerns we see about what these data centers will consume in terms of electricity and water use, is how money and the financial incentives surrounding these data centers interfere with people's constitutional rights to free speech and the right to petition their local government's officials. A troubling trend has emerged across the state with regard to these data centers. Most of these data center developers are going to small rural townships seeking permission to build. These developers bring with them the promises of jobs, and more importantly, the promises of massive tax revenues for these small townships. And what we often see in response to these developments is our local officials working with these data center developers instead of working for their constituents. Part of the way our government system functions at the local level is we elect our neighbors to be our local government officials. We entrust to our neighbors the responsibility of governing our community because we might not have the time or the expertise to do that job. This system is built on trust between neighbors. And tragically, what we're seeing more and more of with these data center developers is that the neighbors we elected are ignoring us in favor of big tech profit. Those that were entrusted with the power to lead in local government stop serving the interests of their community and start serving the interests of the big tech companies over the allure of money. America was founded on the principles of free speech and the right for citizens to have a voice in their government. When tech companies and local government officials collude, what we find is that people's rights under the Constitution become subordinate to profit. The only way for citizens to keep the sanctity of their rights is to continue to exercise them, even in the face of adversity. It's now more important than ever to exercise your rights like we're doing here today. This means going out and protesting on sidewalks and parks and telling your local elected officials to stop being greedy and to start listening to their constituents. This also means going out and recalling elected officials who've betrayed the trust of their constituents and remove them from power. These are not easy tasks, and these are not easy things to ask of communities undergoing this data center scourge. But in the face of adversity, where big tech money interplays with local politics, it's more important than ever to exercise your rights, like we're doing here today. In my practice as an attorney, I've had people come to me from these communities with stories of their rights getting violated by local government over these data center issues. I've had people come to me and tell me they were forced from public sidewalks because they were holding a sign against the data center. But it's not just local governments trying to quash your rights. For example, in Frenchtown Charter Township, community organizers petitioned to have an ordinance related to their data center to go on the ballot so people can vote on it. Despite gathering over 1,500 signatures in sub-zero temperatures, DTE Energy challenged the petition, held secret meetings with their legal counsel in the township, and attempted to overturn the will of the people. When all this came out, it looked like the clerk wasn't going to certify the petition. But that's when people got loud and exercised their rights. People called the township hall and told the clerk to certify the petition. When he didn't pick up the phone, they emailed him and told him to certify the petition. And when he didn't email them back, they went to the next board meeting and they told him in person to certify the petition. Because of the people showing up and exercising their rights, the clerk certified the petition, and now the voters get to decide that ordinance, and not DTE Energy and not the data center developer. This story is important because it illustrates my point today. We, the people, have the power to effectuate change in our communities. But we have to exercise our rights in order to do so. Sometimes this means being loud and telling your elected officials that they're wrong. Because these officials need to remember one thing. If they sell us out over these data centers, we'll vote them out. I'd like to thank everybody today for putting on this protest and for collecting such a diverse array of speakers to talk about these topics with the data center. Thank you all for coming out tonight and showing your support. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here, David. David really has been doing a lot. I mean, you probably got that impression from that list of accomplishments that he listed, but he's been doing so much more than that behind the scenes as well. He really is a swell guy. So I've been told that I'm supposed to do a little bit of a chant to get the crowd going. So what we're going to do is I'm going to say Michigan money, and then you're going to say out of politics, all right? Because we're going to get Michigan money out of politics, all right? Michigan money. Out of politics. 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 Now I got news that my cousin, whose name I am not going to name, has not yet signed the Michigan money out of politics petition. As I said earlier, there's a few people with clipboards walking around. If you similarly have not signed that yet, I would like you to find a person with clipboards, walk up to them, and sign that as quickly as possible. In fact, if you have a clipboard, raise it up in the air so that people know where to go. Right over there. All right, we got a few in the back as well, all right? Right over there. All over the place, all right? Walk up to anyone with a clipboard. Michigan money. Michigan money. All right, now to introduce our next speaker. Here you go.
Can we please welcome Hamina Garcia up to the stage? She is an Oakland University student.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jimena. I'm an Oakland University student that will be graduating soon. But thank God I was here when OU proposed a data center to be proposed on campus, to be built on campus. And let me tell you, I have fallen in love with OU during my time there. The community, academics, and campus environment is beautiful. The students and faculty there are brilliant, and I am so lucky to have known and worked with so many people over my years there. But last June, I was at a Board of Trustees meeting when a proposal to release an RFP to build a data center on campus was unanimously approved by the board, and none of us knew about it. This was the first time I had ever heard of such a plan at OU. I had already heard about similar proposals across the country and in Michigan, and the disastrous effects that data centers can have on our air and water. I was at a loss of what to do. I had no technical knowledge about data centers nor a concrete plan to get this proposal stopped. So what I did was what I knew best, and I reached out to my network of fellow students and faculty to get the word out. I'm eternally grateful to the Young Democratic Socialist chapter at Oakland University, College Democrats of OU, and the legislators in our student congress for being ready and willing to join me in putting together a campaign to stop a data center from being built on our campus. We used word of mouth to talk to faculty during office hours, talk to students during classes, talk to students in the hallways. We got our message out there through flyers, social media, a petition that got over 2,000 signatures. And by the end of it, it was impossible not to know that OU was considering to build a data center on campus. And let me tell you, some of the people on your side will still discourage you from speaking out. I had staff and faculty try to tell me that the plan was already too far along and there was no way to stop it. There were plenty of people I talked to that were hesitant to oppose university administration, and they decided to play both sides. But if there's one thing that I would like everyone to keep in mind, is to never give up the fight. On the contrary, always dare to take a stance. Dare to refuse. Dare to resist. Companies are profiting off of people being apathetic to the atrocities happening around them. They are banking on the assumption that you will sit back and allow them to encroach upon your campus or your community. As a message to any students or members of other communities fighting data centers in your area, you don't have to know everything. I was so lucky that when I reached out to my network, we all brainstormed and we came up with a plan together. Since then, the campaign has grown way bigger than me and the room where it all began during the Board of Trustees meeting. The campaign now involves alumni, local residents, organizers from all over the state that are showing up and speaking out. We had a town hall the other day that the administration organized, and we filled that room to the brim. It was amazing, and the energy was amazing. The circumstances are horrible, but the energy and the community were all there. If university administration didn't feel the pressure before, they definitely felt it then. Now we are taking control of the narrative to protect our campus by hosting our own events and bringing our own people to show up and speak out. We're hosting the town hall this week on Thursday. It's gonna be at the Oakland Center, April 16th at 5:30. Please show up, thank you.
Thank you, Hamina. give a round of applause to our college students speaking out. Exactly. If you hit the Public Research Initiative table, take a card to our link tree. We will have their event linked in. Next up, please welcome Chris Gilmer-Hill from the Michigan Environmental Justice Coalition. He is an amazing person and an amazing person to speak on this issue.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Chris Gilmer-Hill. I am a worker at the Michigan Environmental Justice Coalition, fighting for environmental justice all throughout our state. I'm also a candidate for state rep in District 8 and a proud member of the Detroit chapter of the Democratic Socialists of America. Yeah. And I'm here because we have the power to determine what happens in our communities. We have the power to say no to data centers, to say no to the exploitation of our neighbors, the poisoning of our air and water. We have the power to demand something better. We just need to use it. And that's true in Lansing. It's true right here in our own communities. I know we've all been told over and over that this is just inevitable, that this industry is coming, whether we like it or not, that we just have to give up our land, our water, everything that we care about because there's no way to avoid this. And we know that's bullshit. So I'm going to give you 4 specific ways that we can demand an end to this nonsense and real protections for our communities and the things that we care about. So, number 1, at the local level and at the state level, we have the power to tell them to just pump the brakes, to just stop. We don't have to let this happen unimpeded with no regulation. We have the power to enact moratoriums, to say we don't have the regulations in place to do this safely, so you just don't get to do it right now. We're gonna make you wait. We're gonna put laws in place that ensure that our people are protected, and until we do that, you don't get to build these. There's a bill to do that at the state level. There's plenty of places that have already done it at the local level. They're doing it because it's necessary and because it works. But we also know that that alone isn't enough. So number 2, we have the power to make them pay their taxes. I know when I was up in Lansing fighting against the tax exemption last term, we were told over and over, these are inevitable, but also if we don't give them these tax breaks, then they won't come. And somehow nobody saw how insane that was of a thing to say. If these things are so inevitable, if the coming of data centers into our communities is something we can't stop, can't even try to slow down, we don't need to be giving them tax breaks. They can pay the same sales tax that we have to pay if we want to go buy a computer chip. They should be funding all the things that we need in our communities. At the very least, if these things are coming, we can make them pay into our school system, into our public services, into all the things that we believe in our state. Because if these companies are truly profitable, if these are going to be the richest companies in the history of our planet, they can pay a sales tax in Michigan. Number 3, we have the power to make them pay their fair share. Because even if they pay their taxes, we know that DTE and these tech companies are always working behind the scenes to try to make sure that that bill gets put on our shoulders instead of the place it should be. Right now, Consumers Energy over on the other side of the state is claiming 3 things. They're claiming that there's going to be 1.5 gigawatts of data center development in their territory. They're claiming that they need to build a 1.6 gigawatt new fossil fuel methane gas plant to meet increased demand. And they're claiming that those 2 things aren't related, so the data center companies shouldn't be the ones to pay for that new plant. They want to do a rate hike. They want to put that on ratepayers' shoulders. We need state law and regulators to call that out and make these companies pay their fair share. If we can establish new laws at the state level, make a new rate class of large load users, we can make data centers pay for our clean energy transition. We can make these massive companies pay to clean up our grid, to make energy affordable for everybody else. But at the end of the day, there's a 4th thing we need to do, because we know that even if we get it right, data centers themselves are still not good for our communities. So we can tell them to go away. We can tell them at the local level and at the state level, you're not going to use millions and millions of gallons of water. You're not going to raise my electricity rates. You're not going to put a diesel generator in my backyard in a majority black community like they did in Memphis, like they did in Mississippi. We don't have to accept these things. We don't just have to try to get it right. We can point to the things that we don't want to happen, and we can just say no. We can just say, you're not going to do that here. If you can find a way to build a data center that doesn't pollute the water and the air, that doesn't raise all of our costs, that doesn't make our communities worse, then fine. But we know that you're not planning to do that, so we're not going to let you come in and destroy our communities just to make a profit. Now, I know those are 4 things that aren't always easy. I know those are 4 things that aren't happening now, but I believe in them because we have the power to demand that they're not going to be negotiable. We have the power to demand that these things are going to happen. We can demand them in Lansing, and if our representatives in Lansing don't fight for them, we can replace them with people who will. And we can demand them right here in our communities at the local level, because at the end of the day, we're the ones that have the power. We have the power to decide what happens in our backyards, and we have the power to say no to data center destruction in our communities. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Chris. I want to remind everybody to please go over and check out the Michigan Climate Action Network table. They will be holding a summit in June, which you will definitely want to check out. Next up, we have Emily Bush, who is the lead of Michigan Freedom Coalition and a member of Macomb Defenders Rising. You will definitely want to listen to this speech.
Hi everybody, I'm Emily Bush and I'm with the Michigan Freedom Coalition, and I ran for Congress in 2024. How many here have run for Congress before? Anybody? Nobody? Oh, excellent. I ran for Congress and all I got was this shitty shacket. That's what I like to say. You know, I wrote a whole speech last night and this morning. And as I was drying my hair, getting ready to come down here, all good things happen when you dry your hair, I realized that I actually have a personal story. We all know that Sam Altman is a piece of shit, and, you know, Peter Thiel, piece of shit. We all know that, right? I don't need to remind you of that. And I don't need to remind you of the environmental effects of data centers, and it's the oligarchy playing in our face, right? So as I'm drying my hair, I'm thinking, oh my God, I have a personal story as it related to my run for Congress. How many of you have heard of Fair Shake, the PAC? Anybody? Yeah. Yes? Okay, Fair Shake is the crypto PAC, super PAC, okay? And in 2024, when I ran for Congress, my team was approached by Fair Shake. And there were 6 of us in the Michigan 10 primary, and we were all asked to have a stance on where we stood with crypto. And I don't know shit about crypto other than it's play money for billionaires. That's what it seems like to me. I don't know, how everybody else think that way? So they wanted me to fill out their questionnaire. If any of you ever run for anything other than Congress, you know there are questionnaires and they ask you where you stand on all these different things. And something just felt icky, right? Like, I don't know anything about crypto. I don't know anything about the blockchain. I don't know anything about how it works. But my team, my consultant team of 10 people, asked me if I would be willing to plant my flag in the sand and say that I was pro-crypto, not knowing a damn thing about crypto. And what is crypto run by, everybody? Data centers, right? You can't have crypto without these mega hyperscale data centers. So I toiled over this and I thought, how do I plant my flag in the sand saying that I'm pro-crypto? They're like, signal it on all the socials, then you'll get people to donate to you. I'm like, wow, that's the name of the game, right? I spent 17 months locked in a room, calling for 8 to 10 hours a day, asking for what? Money, right? It's all about money. So I knew that internally, morally, something felt wrong about saying that, yes, I'm pro crypto. I didn't know anything about it. So I was feverishly like reading about crypto and the blockchain and what does it mean and how does it work? And ultimately I said to my husband, I'm like, I can't do this. I don't know anything about this. It wouldn't have mattered. I came in dead frickin' last in the primary, but just know that that is how it starts. I always believed that when somebody wanted to run for something, that they had a reason for running. And some of you here know my son is a survivor of the Oxford High School shooting, which is why I got involved in all this crazy shit in the first place. I didn't know anything. Okay, I'm going to admit this, and you guys are all my witness. I didn't know the difference between the state senate and the state house when I ran for state rep in 2022, but I learned a lot, and then I was asked to run for Congress. But you think that everybody that runs for something, they should have a reason for running. I had a real reason for running, right? Then it was, I didn't think that kids should get shot in school, right? I didn't think teachers should have dodging bullets as part of their job description. But as I've learned more and more over the last 4 years, I've only been involved in this for 4 years, it became increasingly obvious to me that it wasn't just about kids sitting anxious as hell in classrooms, wondering who was going to come through the front door. It's about the greater landscape of everything right now. And these data centers are taking away our kids' futures for their jobs, for the environment, for being able to afford anything. My son's 19 years old, and I'm worried that he's never gonna be able to afford to buy a home or have a car. And you know what? These billionaires, they don't give a shit. They don't care, right? They're just gonna keep taking and taking and taking until we have nothing left. So that's why I continue to educate myself on all of the things that matter to all of us. But I thought to myself, I need to tell this story about Fairshake and crypto because you need to understand how it works. When somebody decides to run for something in a high-profile race like what I did for Michigan 10, they try to get their hooks into you. And when I'm driving down here today, I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, what if it would have been me? What if I would have planted my flag in the sand, said that I was pro-crypto, not having a goddamn idea of what any of that meant? And then who would I be beholden to for the rest of whatever term I served? Can you imagine? I would have been beholden to data centers, to the crypto lobby, and it's gross, y'all. So that's at the federal level. What we need to focus on right now is being able to get money out of politics. Yes, we need to end Citizens United. You're all familiar with that, right? End Citizens United. But you know what? Michigan money out of politics is our opportunity to do that here in Michigan. It's precedent setting. So please, if you haven't signed, sign. If you haven't picked up some petitions to take home to your friends and family, take it home. Get those petitions signed. And one last thing I'm going to leave you with is I'm sure some of you have noticed that this is drawing people from all across the political spectrum. Have we noticed this? It doesn't matter if you're left or right or blue or red or conservative or liberal. People don't want these things anywhere. I don't want them in my backyard. They don't want them in their backyard. Go talk to your neighbor. I promise you, you will find common ground with this. Talk to your neighbor. Ask them to sign the petition. Tell them to get on board with this. We can do this, okay? This is an us thing, all right? Let's fight them. All right, that's it. Thank you very much.
All right, so I'm got some good news. My still unnamed cousin has since signed the petition. So still, for any of you who haven't, it's not too late. That's a sign, okay? So, okay, let's not encourage illegal things. So, we're gonna do some more chanting. We're going to data. Whose data? Whose water? Whose water? Our water. Whose land? Our land. We all heard that one before. Okay, so I'm going to say whose data. You say our data. Whose water? Our. Blah, blah, blah. All right, we all good? Whose data? Our data. Whose water? Our water. Whose land? Our land. Whose data? Our data. Whose water? Our water. Oh, whose land? Our land. All right, because that is a big thing. They're trying to take our data too, a lot of surveillance. Someone will probably talk about that. I'm not a speaker, I shouldn't be talking about all that. Next up we have Jill Shenovar, who is a community leader from Frenchtown. She's been doing a lot of good work down there. Big round of applause, please. Thank you, thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for the invitation. I just want to tell you that Lake Erie is our gem in Monroe, and it's also the capital, it's also the walleye capital of the world. Our population is 21,655 residents, and we have Sterling State Park. We have a campground, we have eagles, we have deer, we have butterflies. We have everything there for the residents to come. Our location of the data center is next to Sterling State Park, and it's in the backyard of 130 homes. Our situation is way different because our township decided to buy the land for $6.5 million. That was the old site of a former golf course. So the township is going to dictate what we are going to do. On April 30th, 2025, our nightmare began. Our township entered a purchase agreement for this land with the former hospital. April to September, the board members of Cloverleaf started talking and building a relationship with our community leaders. The one way we were able to voice our concerns over a data center, we started the BEST petition. We had 4 weeks to collect signatures, 1,271. We came from the community. There was 10 to 15 of us that just busted our asses every weekend. It was 20 below, wind chill, 10 below. It didn't matter. We were out there doing drive-throughs at the community center, the township hall. Property taxes were due the last week, which was great. That is where we got a lot of our signatures. A cat rescue place in Frenchtown, they were the only business that allowed us to collect our petition signatures because they didn't care about the ramifications from the board. Yeah. All other businesses would not allow us on their property to get signatures. They were in fear of the township from the zoning to the permits, which is uncalled for. Let's talk about the weather. It was cold. It was bitter cold. We haven't seen this weather in years, but we were out there doing it. We busted ass for 4 weeks. We sent petitioners all over just to go ahead and get signatures. It was a battle, and guess what? We did it. We got our signatures. We were over the limit, which was great. David spoke about how the clerk did not want to go ahead and accept our BEST petition, and that was due to DTE. They FOIA'd our petition sheets and argued that our petition circulators listed their city as Monroe or Newport, which is on our driver's license and not Frenchtown Township. They believed the signatures were all invalid at that time. It took our township clerk a few days to figure this out, and he finally did the right thing, which he should have. The BEST petition will be on the ballot in August for our voters and for our residents to pass to say no to the data center. We have submitted language to recall our board 2 times, but it has been rejected by the election commission. They're in the wrong, they know it, they gotta figure it out. We are now in the process of the decision with the circuit court. This is going to Monroe Circuit Court, and it shouldn't even have to go there because we did it correctly. We hope to have this approved so we can start collecting signatures as soon as possible to recall all 7 board members of Frenchtown Township. Our community came together to fight the data center. There was 2-3 of us at a board meeting. Now, on our Facebook group, we have 956 members, and we are going strong. Protect Frenchtown, no Frenchtown data centers, that is our Facebook. Our core group is Well-Oiled Machine. We are excellent together, and we will keep fighting to keep this out. It is not about red or blue. It's about saving our communities from data centers. Thank you.
Sincere apologies. Some organizers still have to drink water. Please give a large round of applause for Jill and Frenchtown. They have been doing some amazing work out there. Next up, we have Naz Simset. He is a leader in the Schoolcraft Community College community. He is a leader in the Environmental Club, a researcher for my organization, the Public Research Initiative, and an intern for Livonia Council member Carrie Budzinski. Please come on up, Naz.
Hello, everybody. My name is Naz Simset. I am from Livonia, Michigan, where I was born and raised. I am an intern to Councilwoman Carrie Budzinski. I'm a leader at the Schoolcraft Environment Club, and I am a proud researcher at the organizers of this event. Let's give a round of applause for Public Research Initiative. Yes, absolutely amazing people. Listen, Detroit and the entire Detroit area has a very special place in my heart. It's under attack. All of Michigan is under attack by these headstrong corporations and data centers that are lining the pockets of numerous politicians. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable because data centers do not provide even one singular economic benefit to the state of Michigan. They don't create jobs, they don't give back to our community, and on the contrary, they do the opposite. They take up hundreds of acres of our land and use millions of gallons of our water. And then they use over 2,000 homes worth of electricity every single day. There's no room for that in Michigan. There's no room for that in our country, and there's no room for that in this world. This world, this earth is crying out for help. The time is now. We have no time to waste. I've spoken with professors, policymakers, researchers, community members around the world, and the answer is simple. It's about standing united. And it's about putting policies and guardrails in place to stop these data centers in their tracks. Now, Michigan is a wet bulb climate. For those of you who don't know, that means that we have such a high level of humidity in our air that we are naturally trapping heat at a higher rate than most of the rest of the country. Now, I know you guys know that because we all complain about that humidity every summer. You know we don't miss it. Now, when we introduce carbon dioxide to that, that's when things get really ugly. Because carbon dioxide traps heat even worse than the humidity in our air. Now that's your electric bill going up. That's your gas bill going up. Because you're paying the price that these data centers have brought in by destroying your land, by stealing your water, by polluting your air. Whose land is this? Whose water is this? That's right. And in Livonia, we are currently adopting the German Energy Efficiency Act. I suggest you all look into this. Everybody in this crowd, you have the power to make change in your community. We're making sure any data that comes into Livonia, any data center that's coming into Livonia is getting frequent energy audits, is doing all public reporting, no nasty NDAs, no backdoor deals, no drawing from our grid, all renewable energy, recycle every last bit down to the heat that they are producing. We need this everywhere. Michigan, we can be trailblazers. I'm talking to everybody in this crowd. We all have the power to be trailblazers. Okay? We can't fail our Earth because our Earth has never failed us. Thank you.
please give the biggest round of applause to Nas. Our college students are out here killing it. The youth, man, the youth. They have so much to offer this movement. Next up, we have State Representative Dylan Wagella, who is an amazing, amazing voice on this issue. We are so lucky to have him. Thank you, sir.
How's everybody doing? So, my name is Dylan Wagella, and I'm the state representative from Michigan's 26th district. I want to start because I think it's important to ground ourselves. You know, wealth inequality in this country is out of control. And in the world, it's out of control. The richest 0.001% of the world owns more wealth than the bottom half. Or let me put you that in hard numbers. What that means is 56,000 people have more wealth than the bottom 4.5 billion. And across this country, we are seeing big tech and Wall Street owned utilities like DTE pour money into our elections, attempting to buy influence. We face this pivotal moment in human history where billionaires are racing to develop AI technology that has the potential to destroy the planet and to consolidate wealth and power to a scale that we have never seen before. This technology has the ability to disrupt every facet of our lives. And I think it's important to connect this for people that artificial intelligence is powered by hyperscale data centers. And data centers use incredible amounts of energy. For example, the Saline Township project is estimated to use as much energy that would power 1 million Michigan homes. And that's not even the biggest project projected to come to Michigan. In Van Buren Township, the Google project is projected to use 2 million homes of power. So I want to say one thing about this. You know, you're going to hear politicians from both sides of the aisle talk about this, but any politician that tells you that this isn't going to raise your rates is simply lying to you. And we should be doing everything in our power to stop hyperscale data centers from being built. Because when there's a storm, do you think that DTE is going to restore our power first, or do you think they're going to restore the power for the data center? The data center. When AI profits, who is going to benefit from those profits? The rich or the working class? When our air and our water is polluted, who is going to suffer? The rich or the working class? We cannot forget how we got here. In 2024, under the Democratic trifecta, a bipartisan group of legislators passed tax breaks for data centers. And now we are seeing these facilities flock to Michigan. I was proud to vote no then, and I've been proud to introduce legislation that would repeal those tax breaks. Because we shouldn't be encouraging Michigan to build data centers. We should be doing everything we can to regulate them and slow down AI. And that's why I've been proud to introduce legislation that would put a moratorium on data centers in Michigan. But during this moment, we have a choice. Do we let billionaires, in their pursuit of profits, risk our economy, our environment, and our humanity, or do we fight back? Because some of the studies show that AI is already capable enough to replace between 12 to 16% of all jobs. And the people that are driving AI have the ultimate goal of developing something that's called general intelligence, AI general intelligence. Basically what this means is that they want an AI that can do all of the things that humans can do. And let me spell out what that means for you. It means they want to replace you and they want to replace us in the workplace. They are in pursuit of this goal, even though AI has already developed the ability and demonstrated the ability to lie to humans, to manipulate conversations, to hallucinate and make things up. In tests, you might not have seen this, we saw AI try to use sensitive information to blackmail the creators to prevent those creators from shutting the AI down. There was a 60-minute piece on this with Anthropic, if you didn't see it. We have seen AI, when being faced with shutdown, try to copy itself back onto the servers. The point I'm making is this. The billionaires and the creators of artificial intelligence know the risks that are involved, but are moving forward with it anyway. And they will tell you they're doing this because it's inevitable. But here's the thing. AI is not inevitable. We can choose. We can choose to tax corporations and not give them handouts. We can choose not to build AI data centers. We can choose to regulate it. We can choose to protect our planet, not destroy it. We can choose to end mass surveillance, and we can choose to get money out of politics. And I want to end with one thing, because we're all here, but I think this fight goes beyond this moment, and it goes beyond this day. I'm a proud member of the Democratic Socialist of America, the Detroit chapter, who is one of the co-sponsors of today. And I want to encourage you, whether it's DSA or another organization, please join a mass movement of people to effect change, because our fight goes well beyond today. And in the next 2 to 10 years, AI is going to do so many horrible things to our communities if we don't fight back. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fred Bugela. Before we announce our last 3 speakers, I want to remind everybody that we do have a question box for our Q&A. If you have any questions for any of the speakers, please go over to the table, fill out a card, drop it in the box. We will have a small session where our speakers will be able to answer any questions that you have. Next up, we have Sean Weber, who is not only a community leader out of Washington Township, where Palantir has a proposal, but is also, shame indeed, he is also a researcher with the Public Research Initiative. Please welcome Sean up to the mic.
Hi Detroit, it's good to be here. I live in Armada, 4 miles from Washington Township. And I'm here because what is unfolding in that community is not an isolated incident of poor planning or inadequate zoning review. It is a symptom of something that has been spreading through the body of American democracy for decades. The deliberate merger of corporate power with the machinery of the state, carried out in the language of economic development, dressed in the rhetoric of progress, and insulated from public scrutiny by layers of legal complexity designed specifically to prevent community like ours from understanding what is being done to them. I want to be precise, because precision is what makes power work so hard to keep things vague. You've heard tonight about water consumption, about energy demand, about the flow of political money. All of that is real, and all of it demands accountability. But I want to speak about what runs underneath those concerns. The question of surveillance, of data, and who in the end holds power over whom. These data centers are not neutral infrastructure. They're not the digital equivalent of a warehouse storing merchandise. They are facilities designed to collect, process, cross-reference, and act on information at a scale that previous generations could not have imagined. And the systems connected to the proposals in Washington Township are tied to Palantir Technologies, a company whose contracts run through the CSA, the NSA, the Department of Homeland Security, and the United States military, whose chief executives speak openly about Palantir's role in what he calls the Western war machine. This is not speculation. This is the company's own self-description of themselves. The White House recently amplified a statement from Donald Trump that read, "Palantir Technologies has proven to have great warfighting capabilities and equipment. Just ask our enemies." I want you to sit with those words. not cloud storage, not job creation, not economic revitalization, warfighting capability. This is how the most powerful office in the world describes what is being proposed for our neighborhoods. And yet the proposals that come before our township boards are presented as straightforward development projects, scrubbed clean of that context, stripped of contracts and the operational realities that define what these systems actually do. This is a pattern of deception that is powerful and is always used. They announce intentions in the language of the common good while pursuing the interests of the few. They invoke prosperity to obscure consolidation. What we're confronting has been long called the military-industrial complex, but that framing no longer captures the full picture. What we're dealing with is more specific, and it's the intelligence industrial complex. It's the fusion of private companies with the data gathering and analytical power of the national security state, a fusion so complete that the boundaries between corporate enterprise and government power has ceased in any meaningful sense to exist. Palantir does not merely contract with the state. In important respects, Palantir is the state. One of the instruments through which power is exercised, data is weaponized, and people are tracked. Once this infrastructure is in place, it cannot easily be removed. You do not scale back a system integrated into federal intelligence operations because a township board passes a resolution. It's designed to be permanent. It's designed to grow. This is the logic of this kind of power, and it is operating right now at the local level. The television series Person of Interest opened with the line that the writers understood was not really fiction. You are being watched. The government has a secret system, a machine that spies on you every hour of every day. The systems that can coordinate identity, location, and association across millions of people simultaneously are not science fiction. They are operational. And companies like Palantir are central to making them function. The warning embedded in that premise was never meant to be an instruction manual, but here we are, being asked to welcome that capacity into our communities without a full and honest account of what it is. So the question before us is not whether this technology exists. The question is whether the people whose communities are being transformed by it will receive an honest account of what is being built, by whom, under what legal frameworks, and subject to the forms of accountability, if any exist at all. Detroit answered that question tonight by showing up, by refusing to allow decisions of this magnitude to be made behind closed doors. Across Washington Township, across Macomb County, across Michigan, people questions. And they will not stop asking them because a corporation restructures its ownership through more elaborate shell companies or deploys a better public relations campaign. The questions are grounded in something that does not go away. The right for communities to know what is being built, who is building it, and whose interests it ultimately serves. The standard we're demanding is not complicated. Be transparent about your ownership. Be honest about your contracts. Be clear about what your systems do, who controls them, and who has access to what they produce. Be accountable to the people whose water you will consume, whose power grid you will strain, and whose neighborhoods your presence will permanently alter. If those standards cannot be met, the answer is no. Not pending review, no. Because this is not about one data center and one township. It's about whether communities remain the capacity to govern themselves, to make informed decisions about whether their own futures, or whether that capacity is quietly transferred to entities that operate beyond the reach of democratic accountability. in service of interests that are never clearly defined? That question is worth fighting for. Thank you, Detroit. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you so much, Sean. That is a perspective we need here. Our next speaker is a Detroiter who has not been afraid to take on corporate greed and polluters. Please welcome Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib.
You come closer. Come on. Come closer. You don't have to be back all the way back. Thank you all so much, including all the incredible advocates that are out here. I want you to know right now, so many of my residents, especially in Southfield, who have been strongly opposing the data center proposal there, are really afraid of what is coming in their backyard. But one thing they know is more and more Michiganders are speaking up and saying no data centers in our backyard, and I cannot thank you all enough for that. Yeah. We know Michigan residents overwhelmingly oppose data centers. We know that data centers bring noise, light, air pollution. They pave over hundreds of acres of land and use as much water as an entire city. They're spiking utility rates, and I always ask many of my colleagues, they say, what about the jobs? First of all, I complain to them all the time. You keep talking about jobs. The jobs can't fix cancer. They can't bring our water. They can't bring down our utility rates. Yeah. And so stop talking about jobs as if that can literally replace, again, the harm that is caused by data centers. But I ask my colleagues, find me one data center where the utilities cost did not go up. Find one. Nobody can find one. This is why I'm supporting a complete national moratorium on data centers. This is literally so incredibly important. We know that, again, they're spiking utility rates across our nation, and they aren't worth the lavish tax incentive to watch our water be exhausted. And again, I can tell you right now, many of our residents, again, are so incredibly fearful because they don't know enough about it. They do know this. Whose water? Our water. When they know, again, how much water is going to be exhausted, they are instantly opposed. When you talk to them about 200% plus in increased utility rates, again, a state of Michigan right now, look at DTE. DTE literally increases our rates every moment that they can. And we have one of the highest rates in the nation with literally a little bit of reliability when it comes to that. So again, we are standing strong, many of us here, but really across the country, myself and so many members of Congress that are literally saying no data centers in our backyard. Now, I'll ask all of you to do this, please. Because a lot of people think, oh, if there's a D next to their name, they must be in support of opposition to data centers. That is not true. Democrats and Republicans literally are being lobbied. Funds are being put in their campaign cover, literally, their campaign committees, and they're coming out in support of data centers. They're gaslighting the American people. They're gaslighting their district and saying this is something that is good. Do not let them spread the lies. We have the proof. We have the facts on our side. And for God's sakes, if your residents are saying hell no to data centers, then why are you continuing to bring it back in the backyard of many folks? So it's from Ypsilanti to Detroit to Southfield to Saline. We say hell no to data centers. We don't want them in Michigan. If this is the Great Lakes, you are not going to come up in here and take our water away from us. So when I say whose water, you say our water. Whose water? Our water. Whose water? Our water. Whose land? Our land. Whose land? Our land. So for all of you all pushing it from DT and on, get the hell out of our state. We don't want you here. Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much, Congresswoman. Yes. Our last speaker of the night. Please welcome Maria Maramata, public health expert from Michiganders Against Data Centers and Metro Detroit DSA member.
Yeah! All right!
There's Amara.
Give them hell, Amara.
Hello! Oh, I'm too short for this. Lord have mercy. Okay, it is cold, so I'll keep this quick. My name is Maria Mata. I go by Mara. I'm the public health expert for Michiganders Against Data Centers, and I'm a Metro Detroit DSA member. I'm proud to declare that I'm a first-gen Lebanese American, eldest daughter immigrant. I grew up in Dearborn, right along the Southfield Freeway, right by Fairlane Green Mall, otherwise called The Hill, if you know, you know.
Hands off Lebanon!
Oh, bless, thank you. And growing up next to the freeway meant constant dirty air and constant noise. It really wrecked my family's health, making it impossible to get a proper night's sleep. At times, on certain days, really hard to even breathe. And this could be the norm for many Michiganders across the state if we keep building AI data centers. It's really hard or even impossible to overstate the threat AI data centers are to our environment, our health, our rights, our wallets. The air, water, and sound pollution causes things like lung cancer, heart disease, and asthmatic episodes, costing upwards of $20 billion in public health damages by 2030. All within this machine that magnifies the destruction and death of war and genocide. The AI tech bro strategy is pretty plug and play. They just do this repeatedly, rinse and repeat. They bribe our electeds to pass tax breaks. Then they rush proposals in droves, hoping for almost empty city council meetings and planning commission meetings. For those that do attend, they use scientific terms, technical knowledge, and jargon to confuse. Then they blatantly lie about what the data centers are for, like University of Michigan hiding the fact or trying to hide the fact that they're going to do nuclear weapons research at their data center. It is unacceptable. Then they abuse our court systems to bully us. They falsely promise jobs that never pan out. They over-exaggerate economic benefit when in reality it'll just line the pockets of C-suite executives from out of state and abroad. And they do this with over-eager politicians, only too happy to sign non-disclosure agreements, enter backroom deals, and also cherry on top, support from corporations like DTE who want to use data centers as an excuse to raise our rates again and to avoid any of the clean energy goals they are legally required to meet. And in response, we have been taking pledges to not use ChatGPT and AI because the AI art is really not good and the answers are half wrong. It just makes us dumb and addicted to social media, so we might as well not use it. We've been showing up and showing out, standing room only, to city council and planning commission meetings. We are collecting signatures for recall elections. We're running for city council. We're trying to get appointed to planning commissions. We are showing up, showing out, trying to support, door knock, and donate, elect candidates that don't take corporate PAC money, which is like the baseline. It should be the floor. And then we're also signing the MMOP ballot initiative to get money out of politics, getting our friends and family to sign. And we're re-signing if we signed before November 15th, just heads up. And we do all these things and we're actually doing a good job. We have 19 moratoriums and counting, 2 recall elections in Augusta and Lyon Township. We have half of data centers in the US are delayed or canceled altogether. That's because of you. We'll never be defeated. And like one example would be Lansing's Project Deep Green. They were sent packing 4,000 miles back to the UK, not even waiting for a city council vote despite Mayor Shore's unwavering support the entire time. And we do this because we're Michiganders.
Yeah.
This is our legacy. I say this as a born and raised Michigander. This is what we do. We throw down. As long as the chances aren't zero, we show up repeatedly, constantly, and we will not quietly accept the status quo. That's just what we do. It's our legacy. I'm not gonna lie to you and say there aren't going to be times where, you know, there aren't going to be times of anger, disappointment, or just being straight up tired. There are serious emotional drawbacks to caring and trying. That doesn't mean we shouldn't do it though. I'm not going to promise you it'll be easy, and I'm not gonna pretend that we're gonna win every time. But what I can say with full confidence is that we will not go quietly into the night. I'm gonna tell you, full chest, 10 toes down, that we are disrupting a system designed to make us numb, complicit in our own struggle, divided, accepting. Like, and we're not feeding into that system. We're here today on a Saturday, and it's cold. Like, give yourselves some energy. Like, clap up for yourselves. You're here. I love that. And all that to say is that, like, we can win, we will win, and we have been winning. You have all of my love. You fuel my hope, and you all give me inspiration to think of futures where we're all free. Thank you so much to the people that planned the rally. Shout out to Sabrina. Thank you so much to our amazing speakers. And above all, thank you all for showing up. We can do this. Please warm up, and good night.
Hear, hear.
What an amazing speaker to end on. Please give it up for Mara. All right, everybody, our question box is empty. So it is cold. It is late, and a lot of you have a long drive. So I would just like to thank our sponsors, the Metro Detroit Democratic Socialists of America, We the People Dissent, Mop Up Michigan, Michiganders Against Data Centers, Macomb Defenders Rising, Clean Water Action, 5051 Detroit, and Michigan United. Thank you all. Thank you so much to our incredible speakers tonight. Thank you all for being here in the cold, in the wind, in the late afternoon on a Sunday. Keep up the energy, keep up the fight. We are Detroit, we are Michiganders, and we've got this. Give yourselves a round of applause, go home, warm up, get ready for another day. Thank you all.